What damn, Logic's back with another one. Today we're gonna look at a video by Blackie Speaks. Funny enough, he's coming back to revisit the Sexyy Red topic in a video called "The Sexyy Red Experiment Has Officially Failed." And the reason we're gonna cover it is because I covered his first Sexyy Red video. I've covered when Antonio Speaks brings up Sexyy Red, and now I guess Blackie wants to bring it up again. And I don't know what he's gonna say in this video, but I'm leaning on he's gonna feel like the conspiracy has failed because her career isn't big or whatever, which honestly is bullshit, because I said from the jump this isn't no plot to make somebody big. She's gonna either thrive, or she's either gonna survive or not survive based off of the product she puts out and how much people want to consume it. But maybe he has a better explanation beyond something that's simplistic, but let's see together. Before we get into it, man, make sure to leave a like, comment, sub, if not one, then all three. Now, let's get to the video.
Now, Sexyy Red just over a year ago was one of the most popular new female rappers in the entire industry. After receiving a massive marketing push, it really looked like she was unstoppable. But now, it seems like the Sexyy Red experiment might have failed. Or
and this is just so funny because they already could claim their victory by saying this experiment failed when nobody ever claimed, or there's never been any real proof that this was some type of experiment versus just a rapper that had a 15 minutes of fame moment that nobody gives a fuck about no more.
has it? Let's talk about it. Sexyy Red is a 27-year-old rapper from St. Louis, Missouri, who broke into the mainstream back in late 2023 after her song Pound Town went viral. After the success of that record, she later secured a remix with Nicki Minaj, and that same year, Drake featured her on his album. From there, it looked like nothing could stop Sexyy Red. Her music was everywhere. She was trending nonstop.
I don't know why people felt that way, or even him. Like, I never feel like nothing can stop Sexyy Red. Like, ain't it a whole thing where they say, like, the Drake feature kills careers almost? Isn't that like some type of folklore? They'd say, like, as soon as you get a Drake feature, your career goes to shit or something.
She became the new face.
Especially like new people, I should say, newer people. When you get Drake featured, your career goes to shit.
Of a certain kind of female rap energy, raw, unapologetic, and in your face. However, during her rise, we saw a lot of what I would call dysfunctional behavior. Something I actually dove into in my 30-minute documentary last year, The Dysfunction of Sexyy Red. Among many things, we had situations like the teacher incident. Back in November 2023, a young ballet teacher went viral after expressing frustration about her students singing along to one of Sexyy Red's most explicit songs.
And again, it's so stupid to blame Sexyy Red for that. You blame the parents for maybe not doing as much as they can to keep their kids from hearing it, because the problem is the audience is who the music is for. It's not the fact that it exists. By this logic, everything that's for adults should not exist because a child can be exposed to it. It's ridiculous.
Which was, of course, Pound Town.
Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town.
That's on the parent. My kids at 5 didn't know who Sexyy Red was. So this is just not. I'm not saying that things can't happen out of a parent's control, because I know that it can happen. But if it's a bunch of them or something, like, to me, that's the parents.
Daughters, your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town?
A normal reaction, especially coming from a woman who works with children every single day and understands what it's like growing up as a young girl herself. Now, she was simply pointing out the negative influence that songs like that could have on young kids. But instead of reflecting on something which was pretty fair criticism, Sexyy Red brushed it off, replying, "Girl, shut the hell up and play my song." And that moment right there.
See, I can't. How can I be mad at her? Her song, her music ain't for kids. And if kids are hearing it, why are y'all blaming her for existing? Why do we have rated R movies? Any other rapper that has lyrics that's inappropriate for children, kids can get exposed to it. Y'all just use her as a freaking scapegoat for everything.
Said a lot, because the dysfunction wasn't in just what she said. It was in her complete inability to recognize her music, while profitable, is also inappropriate for the.
So it's funny he's saying it's profitable, but let's see where this video goes to where you're saying it's failed. But we'll see.
Children who idolize her. And then when that teacher spoke up, she was ridiculed, while Sexyy Red kept on climbing. Then there was the school visit. Just a few weeks after, Sexyy Red made headlines again, and that time it was after reportedly getting kicked out of a school in her hometown of St. Louis for smelling like marijuana. She later reacted in a very angry way after the school actually turned her away. And
now that's actually irresponsible.
Essentially told her, hey, you can't be here because you smell like Mary J. And Sexyy Red was saying that she just wanted to speak to the kids.
So this school put me, I came up here, got you, try to talk to the kids, get them the word of that, they gonna put me all on me. Tell them I smell like weed, watch this. My job hard. Every day I'm fighting for my life. Every day. Try to put me out from this school. I'm coming back around.
And the question a lot of people had was, wait a second, why are you showing up to a school smelling like weed, regardless of if you were invited or not? And that kind of thing definitely made it clear that Sexyy Red was very detached from basic accountability. Instead of leaving, she actually decided to turn up outside the school with a crowd of students.
St. Louis native known for her raunchy lyrics making national headlines over a recent performance outside of a rally that was for kids.
Is this middle school or high school?
Well, national recording artist Sexyy Red, whose name is Janae Wary, drawing criticism tonight over her behavior and performance after a student rally Wednesday at Chaffetz. The organization involved telling First Alert 4 tonight she was never even invited.
Despite being told not to.
That's irresponsible too. Why was you there if you wasn't invited? I don't know how that works when celebrities or, you know, people pop up at schools and stuff. I don't know how that works, but it could be disruptive to the school day if you just show up trying to turn the kids up, is if it's in the middle of the day. Maybe if it's after school, maybe, but I still feel like that could be a safety problem. So yes, that is irresponsible as fuck.
Be on the property.
Yeah, she shouldn't do that. It'll be nothing to get the school permission. These look like high school kids, I'm assuming.
Obviously, that's the kind of thing any regular person would have faced real consequences for, but when you're famous, rich, and poppin', consequences don't always apply. Now, this pattern actually continued because after this came the 4C hair comments. Now, in a clip posted to Instagram, Sexyy Red actually showed off her straightened hair, and she mocked women with 4C hair. For anyone who doesn't know what 4C hair is, it's essentially the natural hair type that most black women have. And Sexyy Red, she posted this photo of herself and said, "You carpet hair beanie neck hoes could never." And then she obviously got backlash for this.
And I just hate the fact that we make fun of things that we cannot change. We cannot change hair texture. And it's sad because this is who's in the main.
Nobody's denying that this woman ain't ignorant as fuck. I just don't like that people are pretending like she's this representation for black women. That's what's pissing me off, and how y'all use her as to paint a broad brush over female rap or black women, or she's the face of female hip hop. Like, this is just all ridiculous.
Mainstream media talking like this, and a lot of people are growing up having her as a role model for whatever reason.
And then the role model is so different from being popular at a point in time. Like, this role model they keep saying is crazy. There's no evidence that she's a role model. People, if they like her song, that's totally different than being a fucking role model.
We're gonna start saying carpet hair. It's already a search in TikTok is carpet hair. The hair texture that you have does not determine how beautiful you are. What your face looks like really doesn't determine how beautiful you are. It's your aura, it's your personality that determines how beautiful you are.
And then when that backlash came, she responded in a very distasteful way, and she said, "I fuck with carpet hair," but would still call women that if they talked smack. Obviously not the smartest move, because, you know, the majority of her fan base is actually made up of the same black women that she was shading. And also, it's like, you're a black woman yourself, and you have this hair type yourself naturally, and just because you strain that hair that one time, that doesn't really take away from the fact that you naturally have that hair type. You get what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing that kind of comes across as...
I think that's part of why she made the joke. I'm not trying to, like, you know, run defense, but I get, it's still stupid and ignorant, but I think the reason she was making the joke is because, like, yes, this is how my hair look, and then I just stretch. It's an ignorant joke. It's stupid. But I think it's like, I have this hair and I straighten it, so now you carpet. That's part of the joke.
Like, you know what they call it? Internalized hatred. And this is what made it very ironic, because Sexyy Red's entire brand was always built on exaggerating the same negative stereotypes of black women that she herself insulted. But then we also have the viral tape. And in October 2023, Sexyy Red accidentally posted a private tape on her Instagram story. I'm sure you probably know what that private tape was, right?
Now, people said that you leaked your sex tape on purpose.
It was on Instagram, like a little short clip video, and then through the phone, and it got accidentally pressed like that.
She later claimed...
I don't believe that. Don't believe it. I don't believe her or Shannon Sharp. I don't believe either one of them. I think both of them did that for attention. I think both of them did that for a viral moment. I'm not buying it. I threw the phone and it ended up. Like, no, it's a lot of processes to upload shit. The story, maybe you could click a button, maybe. I don't remember last time I, like, uploaded some of my story on Instagram. But I know if it's a reel or something, there's too many buttons you got to press. The story, you could just be there and then upload. I don't know. Maybe you got to confirm it. I don't remember shit.
On an interview with The Breakfast Club, that it wasn't intentional, but anyone with a functioning brain can tell that it was. The timing, the context, the way it boosted her visibility all point to this being part of the marketing strategy. Because remember, her biggest song, Pound Town, literally revolves around her body and sexuality, okay? So when the world suddenly gets visual evidence connected to those lyrics, what do you think happens? A viral storm. And this kind of thing is part of building a brand identity in today's industry. Not just for Red, but for any artist trying to connect their image to a specific idea or aesthetic. It's very profitable and it works. In this case, we have shock, scandal, and controversy being the core of that identity. And in this situation, none of it was an accident. It was all strategy. This is how an artist gets branded, sold, and introduced to the public by the record labels. And like a lot of us know, the more extreme the image is, the more attention it draws. And the more attention it draws, the more money it makes with the people behind the scenes. But here's the most worrying part about all of this. A huge portion of her audience is made up of children, specifically young black girls who look up to her.
Says who? Why do we keep saying look up to? Why? How come all of a sudden when it comes to Sexyy Red, if you like her, if you listen to her music, you look up to her, she's a role model, she's a representation and all this shit. Why don't y'all say that about Beyonce, the biggest, freaking one of the biggest artists, period? Why don't y'all say people look up to Beyonce? Yes, her image is better than Sexy's, but she probably has a bigger impact on young girls today than Sexyy fucking Red.
Imitate her and see her as a representation of what confidence looks like. And so when those same girls watch a public figure leak her own tape and then pretend it was an accident, it sends a dangerous message.
If they're that age that they shouldn't be on Instagram in the first place. Nobody that you talking about little girls, they shouldn't be on Instagram. Instagram just got a teen function, and you got control over that as a parent. And now we're talking about younger than teens. Why are they even knowing about her sex tape leaking? They shouldn't know nothing about that.
That attention is worth.
Like, I'm not saying that there's no world at all where like a 7-year-old don't hear a Sexyy Red song, because they play it, the clean version, on the radio, so it's possible they could hear a song and like it. But at the end of the day, again, the parents' responsibility to make sure they're not hearing the unclean versions at the very minimum.
And dignity. When it comes to being a public figure, no matter how you look at it, there is a level of responsibility that comes with that. With great power comes great responsibility. And it's not about being perfect 24/7.
This is so annoying. They don't treat anybody else like this. They don't treat anybody else this way.
Or operating like a role model every second of the day, but at least being conscious of how your actions land.
Why? She's not even trying to be. First of all, who's to say that maybe, like, who's the girl they just, the white girl that made the album cover everybody was losing their mind over? I forgot who that white artist was, the lady. She did an album cover, everybody's like, oh, you was used to be clean. Or even when Hannah Montana got into her own grown self, everybody wanted to treat you like a kid. Maybe that's part of her way to distance herself from having a child fan base even more. If we're going to grant you that she has this child fan base that y'all say she has, which I don't really buy it at all.
Who they actually speak to is very important. Now, in Sexyy Red's case, I never expected that kind of responsibility from her, at least based on how she moved up until that point. But that's exactly the point here. The industry knew that. They knew she wasn't going to filter herself or self-correct or think about the impact that her negative actions are having on people, the world, and the youth.
This is
and
so
in a way,
annoying.
that's
like, how are we going to tell somebody, especially a music artist, you need to stop behaving the way that you want to because kids are hearing your music that's not for them? This is so ridiculous to me.
what made her the perfect candidate for this experiment.
Where is this experiment coming from? Who made it an experiment?
Red was hand
What about
picked, and look away, that's what made her the
now we get into conspiracy territory. Let's do it.
The impact that her negative actions are having on people, the world, and the youth. And in a way, that's what made her the perfect candidate for this experiment. Because before Sexyy Red was handpicked, and listen to what I just said here, okay? Handpicked to be elevated to the spotlight, there's a very real process that happens behind the scenes.
You need to prove that claim. You have to prove it. You can't handpicked. Listen to my words. Handpicked. Please.
Personalities of this type don't just blow up by accident. They're
Yes, they do. All the time people blow up on accident. I feel like Old Town Road was an accident. Doja Cat's Cow song was so not meant to be taken serious. Like, people blow up on accident all the time. What are we talking about?
image, their behavior, all of it is observed, analyzed, and measured by the people who decide who gets pushed and who doesn't. And
this is so. I'm gonna say no. I know that there's this stuff that goes on behind the scenes where shit could get pushed even more. I don't think she falls into that category because her music isn't even clean enough to be pushed in everywhere it needs to be. So, like, usually it's the radio spins that get pushed, maybe inorganically, the songs that get played on the radio. She don't even make music clean enough to go on the radio in any significant amount. It already sounds ridiculous when as much they got to clean up the stuff she do have on the radio. And she literally was popping. Drake jumps on with people that's popping all the time, and then their career fucking goes to shit if they're new. So, like, let's stop acting like she's this anomaly that we've never seen before. Kaya, my neck, my back. What was that? Was that an agenda? Did she get handpicked? My neck, my back is a classic now. Pound Town gonna be forgotten. I forgot about it. I forgot about Pound Town. I forgot that was the song that put her on. So my neck, my back ain't went nowhere. What are we talking about? Nobody forgot about Lil' Kim. This is an offspring of Lil' Kim. So I don't get this. This is crazy to me.
Explains something a lot of people have wondered about for years, which is why do so many public figures suddenly explode in popularity yet seem to completely lack a moral compass? Why do
What the fuck? This is so fucking stupid, bro. And none of this is gonna get that's that mega hat. None of this is gonna get proven. He's just gonna say these things and not prove any of it.
most chaotic, reckless, or controversial artists get the biggest push? That's not by accident. How it works is this: labels, investors, and media companies collectively look for what's profitable. Now what's healthy.
I've said, now this is my talking point. They care about money. That's it. And they can't make money unless people consume it. They can put all this money into people and nobody can consume their content all day. Why are we pretending like people don't flop even when they're pushed? People flop. Some people flop. Because if there's no return on the money they get invested in, there won't be no more money put into them because all you're doing is losing money. And Sexyy Red, she probably had a pop and now nobody cares.
This
isn't unique.
They look for personalities that can generate attention, even if that attention comes from.
You keep saying look for, like they pull them off the street. If I'm not mistaken, hadn't she been doing music until she got on? Wasn't she the girl that they said she got that? She was the one. They said Sexyy Red was the one that did that, one of them old songs, but nobody cared about. This one, that Making My Way Through the Hood stuff. This was like a joke on the internet before we found out it was Sexyy Red 7 years ago. So all this hand-picked stuff, she
making my way through the hood with your boo. All his homeboys think I'm cute.
Like, people was laughing at this. This was Sexyy Red. What is this hand-picked stuff? She been making music. Whether this was serious or not, I don't know. But she been doing this, and people was like posting this as a joke because they thought it was funny and stuff. So what is all this hand-picked stuff? She didn't pop up out of nowhere. She been doing music.
And now you wanna know I was rolling with your man.
Like nobody took her serious at this point, but then she got a pop. This is not a unique story. And she got a flip phone on the hip this 7 years ago. This was clearly a joke or something, but she been doing music.
Dysfunction, because attention is currency, and someone who doesn't self-reflect or set boundaries is easier to brand, easier to manipulate, and easier to push into extreme directions. And during
no, because why don't they do this? Is so stupid to me. Because why isn't there just a big dumb influx of all these Sexyy Reds, since it's so profitable, since it makes so much money? I'm not saying it makes no money, but if this is the way to go, why isn't it way more of them? I would argue Meg isn't on the actually nobody's probably on the level as Sexyy as far as the nasty raunchiness or whatever, because it's a lot for a lot of people, but there's somebody's gonna do it right. Somebody's gonna push those limits. But you got like Beyonce. Why wouldn't we get more Beyoncés? Why aren't they manufacturing Drakes? Like, you gotta stop. This isn't the most profitable thing to do, is to have a Sexyy Red. If anything, you're losing opportunities by being that raunchy. You're limiting your exposure and your options by being so raunchy as a personality. You're not gonna get as much opportunity, period.
Evaluation process, a lot of questions get asked behind the scenes. Questions like who can push the public.
This is proven. Like I said, of course we know that businesses and people, these labels want money. I don't think anybody has to prove that. But to this hand-picked stuff, like, come on.
Buttons the most, who can trigger the strongest reactions, who will go the furthest without questioning the impact. That's why I felt like Sexyy Red was being extra provocative during her blow-up period. It wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was very planned. It was orchestrated in a way that maximized shock, maximized virality, and maximized profit. And despite
Shock and virality, yes. When you got more attention, more eyes on you, yes, it produces more money. But that doesn't mean it's like it's not unique. Like I don't know. Like maybe everybody doesn't necessarily do it, but this isn't something unique to Sexyy Red.
all that dysfunction, it seemed like she just kept going up. Every controversy.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. And that's what I don't agree with. She wasn't going up after each controversy. If anything, it started hurting her more. Like more and more people wasn't rocking with her after even the school thing. Like she was the sex tape thing. It was like people was like, "What you on?" Like some people probably fuck with it, but again, y'all mad because kids see this sometimes.
Viral moment. Instead of things slowing down, it almost felt like it was fueling her career even more. And my theory has always been that there's of course a reason for that. See, I personally think that Sexyy Red was getting this push for one main reason: to promote a very specific image, a very negative one. Because
see, no, this is who she is, and some people rocked with it. And they can't change it because some people rock with it.
In a world where media has always shaped how we view people, especially black people, Sexyy Red became a tool for the music.
No, stop. This is such bullshit. Why don't you apply this to Beyonce? Why doesn't Cardi and Meg fall into this? Why is everybody else getting ignored and you pick the easiest target to then say, yes, this is the image that they want black people? Like, she's irrelevant now until you guys keep bringing her up. Nobody's talking about her until y'all bring her up. This is so stupid. You keep making her relevant.
Industry to push a modern version.
Way more relevant than she needs to be since she's such a detriment.
Of one of the oldest and most damaging stereotypes about black women. I'm talking about the Jezebel stereotype, dating back to slavery.
God. So he's just finna rehash the same talking points he did from that first video?
Stereotype painted black women as hypersexual, uncontrollable, and defined entirely by their bodies. It was
this is one. Again, I'm not gonna say it's just one. She's just the easiest target. Cause yes, Cardi and Meg sexualized themselves as well, but they not. This is so fucking annoying, bro.
Complete lie that was used to justify the exploitation and abuse of black women
for such a fucking reach.
Generations, and somehow that same imagery is still being recycled today, just packaged with beats and marketing. And hip-hop has always been an art form to empower black voices. However, it has unfortunately been hijacked to do the opposite. And Sexyy Red, whether she realizes or not, became the face of that. Her entire
and you're the one pushing that narrative. Nobody has to buy into that. You just don't like her, and that's fine. But don't pretend like she's the only person to ever do what she's doing. She's probably pushing the limits, but she didn't set the standard.
Brand, her lyrics, her visuals, and even the way she's promoted. It all fed into that same narrative that the only way a black woman can be seen, celebrated.
How? Who said that the only black she's not that big. In the video, I pointed out how she was literally the least popular artist getting spins on Spotify. Like, it was like I had put up Meg, Cardi, Nicki, and I think Lotto or something like that. And she had the least listens. Like, why are we pretending like she's this superior being in female hip-hop? This is stupid. They're trying to make it look like that's all black people when nobody actually believes that, which is why, again, Sexyy Red is not even the most popular within her own contemporaries. Lotto gets more attention to her. She's sexual, but she's not as bad as Sexyy. Like I said, you make yourself less marketable by having this image. You're less marketable.
Viral is by being sexualized, loud, and reckless. And Red eventually became very successful. She's undoubtedly generated a whole lot of money for the music industry.
And a lot of people have. What about Lotto? What about Cardi? Cardi just released the album that did pretty fucking good. Why aren't you talking about Cardi being, I mean, I guess optically Cardi ain't black, but she's black, you know, but why aren't you talking about that? She just put out an album that did really well. She's way more of a name right now in 2025 than Sexyy Red. You ain't talking about her though.
How the experiment worked, but now things are starting to shift. A lot of you guys might have noticed how Sexyy Red isn't being talked about nearly as much as before. And there's
yeah, until you bring her up.
There's a few reasons for that. Now let's take it way back to how it all started. Before Sexyy Red took off, she was discovered by a Miami-based label and management company called Rebel Music back in 2021. They came across some of her early songs and decided to sign her. Her A&R executive stated that when she got off the plane and I heard her voice, I knew she was a star. Fast forward.
And that's fair because people do like, that's why a big part of why Cardi's big. People like a personality too. So, I mean, she could be raunchy and stuff, but you could sell her personality too. Some people gonna like it. She does have she's entertaining. You know, you got people like Sukiyana entertaining as much as you don't like their behavior, but that's a big reason why people like Cardi too. She's entertaining. She's funny. So all that shit play into it. And then she already got music out, whatever. But I mean, I agree that her trajectory has gone down, and that's because it could be tired for some people. But just claiming this experiment stuff is just, he didn't prove any of this shit. He's just saying it.
Or to mid-2023, the peak of her blow-up, and Gamma, a new media company, stepped in to handle her distribution. Now let's talk a little bit about Gamma, because this was the company behind her true rise. Now this company was founded by a Larry Jackson. Some of you guys in the music industry might know who this is. He actually spent 7 years as Apple Music's global creative director before leaving in 2022 to start Gamma, a company that claims to create, distribute, and market content focused on Black culture. And according to Larry Jackson himself, that focus on Black culture isn't just a slogan, it's the entire pitch. Because when Gamma was launched, it wasn't some small experimental startup. They actually came out the gate backed by $1 billion in financing. And the question is, where did they get that money from? We'll get to that in a second. And this money was apparently being put to work, particularly and acutely on Black culture. So $1 billion dedicated specifically to Black culture. Interesting. Now, Larry Jackson is a very much recognized name in the music industry. Most people, whether it's managers, artists, or anyone else who actually works in the music industry, most times they know who he is, right? Billboard even named Larry Jackson the R&B and hip-hop executive of the year. They described him as someone who's able to bring things to life, with artists like Travis Scott praising the way he moves. So he's been getting a lot of cosigns from a lot of very prominent artists as well. And one of the first big moves the company Gamma that he started made was facilitating a deal where TikTok's 1 billion plus users got exclusive access to the entire Death Row catalog, which included Snoop Dogg's classic Doggy Style album and the late Tupac's All Eyes on Me as well. Now right here, Larry Jackson demonstrated exactly the kind of pull he and his company Gamma actually has and what it's apparently built to do. Use massive capital, massive access, and massive cultural leverage to shape what the general public, but especially Black audiences, consume and how they consume it. Now when you understand that, Sexyy Red's rise starts looking a lot less organic and a lot more like a calculated extension of that mission. Now, alongside Larry Jackson, we also have Ike Yusuf.
Why is it not okay? I just looked this place up. I just looked up Gamma because I didn't. That was new information for me. Now, what? It looks like he's just got people to work with. Why aren't you talking about any of these people? He got Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, Usher, Sexyy Red, French Montana, D Smoke, 4 Bats, Jaden, Willow, 5, Yusamame, whoever that is, Rich the Kid, Black Diamond, The Dog Pound, Dear Alice, Molly, Mariah Carey, and Asaki, whatever that is. Why is Sexyy Red special in this? There's just a bunch of artists. She was one of the launch, yes, but that was along with who? Usher, Rick Ross, and Snoop Dogg? Like, what is unique about her in this situation? She's just another artist. Dog, I'm sick of these people.
Gamma's president. Now, Ike previously worked at Interscope Records as a CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and he holds degrees in business, economics, and accounting. So his background is strictly corporate, not creative. Together, these two essentially built Gamma to be a hybrid between a label and a media powerhouse. And Sexyy Red quickly became one of their biggest test cases, the face of a very calculated experiment that combined viral marketing.
Who says she was the face? What normal person knows about Gamma? Like, when you say the face of it, you would think that means when you see Pikachu, the face of Pokemon. When you see Sexyy Red, the face of Gamma, nobody knows what Gamma is. She's the face of herself, of her brand. Now I get where you could probably say, oh, they're putting her at the forefront to make them more money. But I'm like, that honestly probably sounds like it's not the best idea because, again, that'll alienate people. Yes, sex sells, but like trash, not so much. And she's very much in the closer to the trash side of things than sex.
Cultural packaging under the banner of representation.
Yeah, let's ignore somebody like Usher.
But here's where things get interesting. The largest investor in Gamma isn't someone from the culture at all. It's Todd Boehly, a 52-year-old American businessman of German heritage who's worth over
he's putting faces to names, but who doesn't know that most of these labels and execs are fucking older, middle-aged white men? Like,
$1 billion. So now it actually starts to make sense where they got that.
And now what he's finna do is do white men are making money off the Black people. That's what he finna do.
Initial billion from, right? So the main investor behind a company that claims to focus on black culture is a white billionaire who also happens to
it sounds fucked up. I'm not shocked at this. Black people don't always have the capital to do things like this, and white people do. And this is not unique. Again, none of this is unique to Gamma or Sexyy Red. None of this is unique to them. Well, we seen what happened with NWA and stuff like that. It's always some white man that's taking advantage of them. Like, I'm not saying it's okay, but this isn't unique. That's all I'm saying. It's not unique to Sexyy Red.
Los Angeles Dodgers and Chelsea Football Club. And, that's kind of where the dots.
People just want to make bread. They know they're not the ones that's going to take the biggest hit at the end of everything. That's why they have all the resources to invest in something that can make them more money. If they take the L, they probably take a less of an L than everybody else that's underneath them. Because they got it. You say you own the fucking Dodgers or a part of it or whatever the hell.
Behind a company that claims to focus on black culture is a white billionaire who also happens to co-own Los Angeles Dodgers and Chelsea Football Club. And, that's kind of where the dots start to connect. Because one of the biggest questions people had when Sexyy Red started popping up everywhere was how? Like, how?
Why do people do this with this the industry plan? How? It just happened. How does anybody get on? How does anybody get on? Unless you personally was following this person's trajectory from day one, from the first song they ever released publicly, and you seen all the little steps and moves they was making. Like, they say this about every single person that apparently comes out of nowhere. Like, they just did something. They put out music, they have products, somebody hears it, and they want to sign them. It's no different than any other artist for the most part.
How is all this possible? How does someone with that kind of image suddenly get this massive push from every direction?
This push, people like it. It's put out and people receive it and they like it.
Well, now
this push stuff is just so misleading.
It makes sense to you when you realize that the machine behind Sexyy Red included a billionaire investor worth nearly $9.
See, he just framed it as if this was solely centered on Sexyy Red, and that Gamma place has Snoop Dogg, Usher, and Rick Ross also was the first people they signed, and then also Sexyy Red. And he just gave you all this info and now said a billionaire came and put this money behind Sexyy Red. No, a billionaire put their money into a media company called Gamma, who started their entertainment conglomerate with Usher, Rick Ross, Sexyy Red, and Snoop Dogg. Why are we ignoring everybody else?
$1 billion, a major media company with deep
This is
Apple
so
Music
dishonest.
ties and a label infrastructure designed to amplify controversy. It starts painting a very clear picture. And this is
yeah, controversy by having Snoop Dogg and Usher.
something Candace Owens actually spoke about some time back as well.
Gamma has a lot of power. I'll tell you why Gamma has a lot of power.
We're done. I don't even know if I need to watch anymore. He's using Candace Owens as a reference. Like, I think it's all. I think this says enough. I think this says enough of where Blackie speaks now, where he is now. We know where he's at now.
Because the two individuals that started Gamma, one of them came out of Apple. His name is Larry Jackson.
Are we shocked that people that are execs from Fortune 500 companies leave and continue to try to do it elsewhere? Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, people that was an executive at Apple, they left and they went and started their own thing to make some more money. Like, what are we talking about?
And the second one of them came from Interscope Records. He has a ton of clout in the record community, the music community industry, so to speak. And his name is Ike Youssef. Larry Jackson, who I mentioned before, is black.
I can't believe he's using Candace Owens as a reference.
And he is
It's so funny because my next video is going to be about Candace.
the person that I am more interested in.
For anyone who doesn't recognize the face or name, Candace Owens is an American political commentator and author, and a self-labeled conservative activist. Now, she's covered a lot of these same connections, pointing out how the entertainment...
Is he going to talk about how much of a quack she fucking is? And how much she's just wrong and just asks questions all the time and never proves anything?
The industry profits off of promoting chaos, dysfunction, and over-sexualization, especially when it comes to black artists. Now, interestingly enough, this connects to something rapper Ice Cube talked about on Bill Maher's podcast. Ice Cube spoke about the same kind of manipulation, which is what he called social engineering, where record labels act like gatekeepers, and he said that they essentially don't tell artists exactly what to say, but they make sure that the most destructive messages are the ones that get pushed to the top.
Push by who? I don't. How can they push something? I don't. This is. Who is. There's no way to prove this. Like, you have to show. What is this push by who? Because if what you call push is like somebody goes out there and says something that's like really crazy, and then like TMZ and the Breakfast Club and all the radio stations and content creators on YouTube and shit cover it. Who told us to? Who pushed it to us? Or is it just something that controversy and sex sells? Like, that's not a concept that we don't understand already. Like, what are we talking about?
Records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
I love this confirmation bias. Like, first we using Candace Owens as a fucking reference, I guess, and then Ice Cube has an opinion. And I mean, to be fair, he's been a part of the industry, but I like proof, not just an opinion.
Didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making
that. See, and that was part of it. And that's the Bill. And that's nobody made you write the lyrics you write, because again, we are sitting here acting like people like Kendrick and J. Cole are not big as fuck. We're sitting here acting like some of the greatest artists we've ever had are not the most controversial or detrimental. Like, what are we? People is just gonna consume what they like. That's just all it comes down to.
People towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't.
What the fuck does that mean? No, there's a whole science to like what song that gonna pop. And there's people that understand this, like what works. And that's what usually how they pick like the bigger songs on the radio and stuff. Some stuff, they don't see it coming and it just becomes the hot shit. But these people know the science behind a song that's gonna be the one to get somebody going. And that's just science. That's not like, yeah, what's the most detrimental music we could put out? Like, you think they thinking about, yeah, what's the most detrimental song we could put out that black people even if it don't sound good sonically, we're gonna put it out because we're gonna brainwash everybody to think less of the black community. Like, this is so ridiculous.
This is an idea we've explored conversationally over time, so it's nothing new, right? Now, Ice Cube was essentially saying, if you follow the money, you'll start noticing how the same people who own major record labels also have ownership stakes in private prisons. Now, that's another.
Oh my God. And I'm not even, oh my God.
Conversation I'll explore in depth in another video.
I wish he did it here, because that's a...
Whether you believe what Ice Cube said or not, the underlying message underneath is very clear. The industry profits off of chaos, dysfunction, and division. And when you look at what gets the biggest push, the artists who glorify violence, crime, or hypersexuality, it starts to make a lot of sense, right? And this is how a lot of these experiments start. Now, for Sexyy Red, I think they decided to push the boundaries even further, especially when it comes to the raunchiness and shock value. Because here's the thing, we live in a time where, let's just say that people are extremely desensitized in all types of ways. Nothing surprises anyone anymore. So to grab everybody's attention, like to grab the attention of the public, you almost have to go to the extreme. You have to be louder, you have to be wilder, you have to be more provocative than the last person, or you'll get drowned out in the noise. And Sexyy Red became the perfect vessel for that strategy. Because one thing about the public is that we react to extremes. If you show us something that feels outrageous...
Yeah, and it got old. Nobody cares about Sexyy Red no more. But yeah, here you are making a fucking, 22-minute video on her.
Just controversial or wild enough, it grabs our attention instantly. And in an experiment where attention equals profit, the industry keeps testing how far they can go. They take these sample sizes of artists, amplify the most polarizing ones, and study what happens next. How people react, how the internet responds, how the controversy spreads. If it goes viral, they double down on that formula. If it doesn't, they move on to the next artist. That's exactly what we've seen happen in this case right here. Sexyy Red was a test subject for how far they could stretch the public's tolerance, for dysfunction, for explicitness, for chaos, all while disguising it as authenticity.
Who are you to say it's not authentic?
Now, what's happening right now with Sexyy Red, though, because she's obviously not getting the same marketing push that she was. Before we even get to Sexyy Red, we got to look at what's been happening in rap overall. Now, a few days ago, we talked about that Billboard report The one showing that for the first time since the 90s, there wasn't a single rap song in the Hot 100's top 40. Rap's market share has been slipping for years. This is something a lot of people know, right? Labels aren't investing in hip-hop like they used to, and a lot of the newer sounds just aren't connecting with the public anymore. Meanwhile, country, Latin, Afrobeats, and pop are dominating. So the industry has shifted towards safe artists with guaranteed returns, meaning the machine.
Drake been popping for how many years now, talking about switch to safe artists. I have to address it because he posted Drake, and even Drake ain't been putting out slaps either. So what do you mean switch to safe artists? Cardi B just did extremely well with her album. The clips, they not getting no push. They did all that shit on their own. Everybody love the Clips album. Everybody love Jid album. Everybody love Freddie Gibbs album. Like, what is this safe artist stuff? Drake has not been. Kendrick just had the fucking run of a lifetime, like a 50 Cent run he just went on. So, what is this safe artist stuff? I don't think any of them are safe, but people like it. They're not getting any push from any labels, and they probably still won't. But people are just gonna like what they like, bro. It's shit changes. We ain't got no. It's maybe just the stars aligned to this point that. Ain't no popping rap songs right now, so they ain't been on the top 40. It is what it is. I don't think it's that deep. Now, if this just could continue to keep happening for a year or some months on end or something, then that's different. But, like, it's probably just a time that just no rap song popping off right now.
Has been, pulling back on rappers across the board, not just Sexyy Red. Now, for Sexyy Red, she's undoubtedly an artist who's fueled by antics. And an artist in that category usually gets a huge marketing push during that initial discovery phase where the label throws everything at them to create momentum, and it works at first. It always does. But later on, things start to slow down because antics have an expiration date. That's just how it is.
Antics do have an expiration date. But if what you're saying is true, it wouldn't matter. If Sexyy Red would still be in our face all the time. If the narrative you're trying to push is true, that they just want to keep pushing out the bad messages and blah blah blah, then she would still be in our face right now.
Also, a growing level of fatigue towards these characters who get pushed nonstop, not just in the music industry, but.
Excuse me, this push stuff is just pissing me off. It's just pissing me off because nobody's pushing nothing. If by push, you mean investing money in somebody that can make them money. Everybody's pushed. Everybody's pushed. If you sign to a major label, you're pushed. Then that's not unique to her again. If you're on a label that can make money off of you, you're getting pushed by this logic. She's not unique. She didn't do anything grander than anybody else. She's not special.
Just in social media in general. And the reason for this fatigue, in my opinion, is because people today are way more conscious, way more self-aware, way more spiritually tuned in than they were.
Or it was never that deep and y'all just made it that deep because she was super ratchet. It was never that deep. And she had a moment, I guess you could say. She popped for a moment because she had, I guess, a song or two that people loved. That's it. Y'all made it seem like, oh, they're trying to make Sexyy Red the face of black people. Like, what? Why did you even say that?
In the past.
You just didn't like her.
Here's the thing, I'm sure you know this, right? We're living in a time where there's so many things that are attacking our attention, our energy, and our peace. So people can feel when something is forced, and when something is spiritually empty. Sexyy Red went through that period where she was being prioritized, where the machine was fully behind her.
No, I'm not going to let him keep saying that shit. I'm never going to let it go. No, she was not prioritized. She was just another fucking artist that had a little moment.
Her pushing her into every corner of the culture and industry.
No, she was not in every corner of the industry.
But things are a little different now. Just a year and some change later.
She's not even unique. I could be wrong, but I feel like she got a meal at a restaurant. She wasn't even the first to do that. So like they kept giving these women. I think Meg had one. Glorilla had. I think she had less listeners than Glorilla, if I'm not mistaken, too. So Glorilla got a meal. Meg Thee Stallion got a meal. Sweetie got a meal. That ain't unique either. I don't even know if she got that. I think she did, but she ain't unique for that either.
That momentum isn't the same. The push isn't the same, and the public isn't reacting the same way they did before. And once the intensity of the reactions start to fade, what incentive does the industry have to keep pushing you and investing all this money into you? None. And there's also something to be said about the demographic that Sexyy Red was being marketed towards, which was primarily black women.
Stop. Who? She's a black woman. What? She's a black woman that came from the hood. I would assume that mostly black people are the ones to resonate with it. Like, are we gonna pretend that there's no normal people that's Sexyy Red, like there's not artists? Are we gonna pretend like there's no version of her that's not an artist? Like, what are we talking about? You supposed to promote her to Asians? What are we talking about?
And based on the responses I've seen online, a lot of, those same women.
Why are you using online as a barometer for, okay,
who were initially hyped about her are starting to wake up to what's really going on. Not in a judgmental way, but in a self-awareness kind of way. Because when something reaches a certain level of exaggeration or dysfunction or straight up cartoonish behavior, people eventually recognize it for what it is.
Yeah, and that's true. I agree with that. It's a bit much, but it's not something we have not seen other people do. Tekashi 6ix9ine, that people don't care. After a while, the antics get old. Kanye is doing this. Why aren't you? Well, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. You do talk about Kanye. I'm not going to do that. But again, why aren't you saying they're trying to make Kanye the face of black men? Like, when he does something, everybody's talking about it. Everybody like, oh, what's going on with Kanye? Blah, blah, blah. Are you saying that he's supposed to represent black men just because he's a version of a black man that's out here being anti-Semitic? There's people that follow him and listen to his words and agree with him. Sexyy Red got pushback from the moment she came out, but there's a demographic that agrees with her, that likes her music, I should say, or resonate with her personality.
Is. Now, personally, I think that all those black women should have realized, when she made those 4C hair comments, that's what we call internalized hatred, okay?
I think it was just a terrible joke. I don't think she hates her hair. I don't know that woman, but I don't think she genuinely felt a way about 4C hair, especially because she had it. I think it was just a bad joke.
And so I think that should have been the moment where they woke up and they realized, like, damn, she's straight up mocking herself and she's mocking us, right? Exactly. Now, on top of that, we also know that Sexyy Red's rise,
if it didn't apply to her, that's why I don't believe that,
was built almost entirely on hype. And when something is built on hype, it fades the moment people take a step back and actually look at what they're consuming. When you change the way you look at things.
No, I think you and all the other people that like you have overblown her career too vastly. You have overblown it because she was super ratchet and y'all pretending like she was being propped up as this queen of hip hop when she just had a freaking moment, 15 minutes of fame, and now it's gone, and now you're acting like, oh, it didn't work because everybody's woke now. No, bro, it was never inevitable that that Sexyy was just gonna be here to stay. I think if most people bet their money, they'll probably say Sexyy Red probably won't be big for a long time, unless if she put out a slap, she gonna put out a slap. But that's what most artists need to do. You just need to put out the slaps. That's what it comes down to. If you ain't putting out the slaps, then nobody gonna care. I don't even think people fucking with this new Meg song that they got going right now. I don't think nobody's messing with it. It's just, you gotta just put out slaps, bro.
The things you're looking at actually start to change, and that's kind of when people start to see through the hype and the facade. And I think that's what happened with Sexyy Red. I also don't think that people are as quick to play this kind of music around their children anymore, especially after everything.
Why did that just change all of a sudden? They weren't quick to play it then. They just probably the same parents is not being responsible to their kids. Like, can we stop? He's gonna pretend like he actually predicted this, or this is what happens when you try to fake a artist and all that shit. Like, oh God.
From Sexyy Red, but also too considering everything that's happening in the world right now. Because the truth is, there's a lot of forces operating through social media today, pushing certain ideas, certain behaviors, and planting certain messages in the minds of the youth.
This is all just conjecture, like
some kind of like conspiracy way, but I'm saying in a very algorithm / attention type of way. The stuff that spreads the fastest is usually the stuff that's loudest, wildest, and most chaotic, and most dysfunctional. And when that becomes the dominant influence in certain spaces, parents and young people themselves start paying attention. And once you recognize the pattern, once you see the intention behind the marketing, you start realizing this isn't something you want influencing the next generation. And that shift right there matters. Because when the core audience becomes more intentional, more protective, and more aware, the entire foundation of that experiment starts to fall apart. Now look, I think Sexyy Red is going to continue being successful to some extent because she's got a fan base, she's got visibility, and she's built a name for herself. But at this point, it's obvious that the experiment isn't hitting the way it used to.
You're calling it presupposing this experiment shit. Like, she's...
But what the hell do I know? You tell me. Has the experiment failed?
Nothing. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. Yeah, man. I think I said a whole lot in that video. I don't need to drag out the outro. Y'all know how I feel. Express how you feel in the comments. This probably might get some people on both sides. My last Sexyy Red video had people on both sides of it. But at the end of the day, yeah, she's trash. But she's just the most trash we've seen. It's nothing unique is happening here. Nothing unique is happening here. This is just, these people don't like her, so they're trying to make it seem like she's this unique entity we've never seen before, and it's just all overblown. And this isn't shocking that she's not as relevant no more. She ain't putting out no slaps. The antics get old. This is tales old as time. But if you made it to this point of the video, man, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.